the state of PvP currently. Yeah, let's talk about it. I don't know what there. Well, okay, hang on. I don't even know where to begin. Okay. So of course, let me clarify something real quick. I haven't played PvP in any substantial margin in probably about 3 weeks, right? Last season, you know, it was coming to a close. I was trying to get everything done that I wanted to do, you know, grinding raids for red boxes, doing, you know, some bounties, stuff like that, you know, just kind of doing all kinds of stuff. So I haven't played PvP in the past few weeks. So I didn't expect to hop in here and be fantastic. Sorry. Right. Like I would not say I'm an S+ tier player. I would say on a good day, I'm like A tier, A-, like, you know, not the best, but also not the worst. Right. But I hop into PvP, but I haven't been in PvP, and I'm not really like fresh on it, right? And you're gonna see by the gameplay in the background here that I'm really not fresh on it. But there are some things I think you don't have to play PvP like more than 5 games to know there are already some issues going on with PvP currently, right? And I want to talk about, you know, some of these issues today and just kind of give my thoughts on them. Starting off with one, I don't know if this is an issue because I'll be honest, I don't play comp very much, especially at the start of a season. You know, I didn't care about Rose, I didn't care about Mercurial Overreach, like, you know, but this season we got a Strand 4-round burst pulse rifle. Of course, aggressive frame pulse rifles are my favorite pulse rifle archetype. They're fantastic, and the rolls that you can get on Belisarius D are amazing. So yeah, I want to get on that grind and start getting them so I can get a rapid hit hatchling roll, so I can get rapid hit kill clip, so I can get you know, a bunch of rolls I want to test out and try out. So I, of course, ventured into the comp playlist yesterday, right? Yesterday, the start of the season. Didn't expect to do great. In fact, in my placement series, I played 7 games. I think I won 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken. I lost 5, won 2. You know, everybody's thrown into the pool. I get that. I'm not concerned about player skill and stuff like that. And I didn't think that my skill had dropped so low that, you know, I was just doing bad. Plus, actually, I didn't play any Crucible before I jumped into comp, so there's that too. But somebody who does play competitive, like religiously, especially at the start of a season, please tell me if it's common for people to add you as a friend middle of the game. People on the enemy team to add you as a friend middle of the game to smack talk. I almost said something else. Sorry, to smack talk, right? Because in 5 out of the 7 games I played, people were adding me as friends because I can only assume they wanted to talk about how bad I was or how much I'm crutching, blah, 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 blah. And I lost the game anyway, so I don't get it. But yeah. That out of the way, I want to talk about the overall like experience with PvP and starting with the menu interface for the Crucible, which is not, I mean, I was disappointed to see it. Okay, of course, we got 3v3 elimination back. This is good. I have no complaints about this. This is fantastic. You know, I know there's a lot of people that want to play, you know, the Trials game mode and practice in Trials, playing elimination, but you can't until Trials actually comes around, and then you get thrown in sweaty lobbies, stuff like that. But with elimination back in the rotation, which I believe elimination will be replaced by Trials of Osiris on Fridays, or Friday through weekly reset or whatever it is. But I think it's good. I'm glad it's there. We also, of course, we have comp. Comp is unchanged. Comp is comp, right? But we have Rift, which is our rotating connection-based mode. Then we have Checkmate's control. And then I think there's one more. I know there's Rumble, and then I think there's one more, Relic. You know, the thing that bothers me and that has me concerned for the Crucible is there is no just normal game mode, right? There's no normal control. There's no normal clash game mode where, hey, go fight guardians, go get flags, right? The closest thing we have is Checkmate control. And I know there's a lot of people who really like Checkmate, and there's a lot of people who don't like Checkmate. I think that a couple weeks ago, or maybe a couple months ago, when they first talked about Checkmate and I tried it out, I was very optimistic about it because, you know, it was still in the early stages. They were still making changes, stuff like that. Now we are several months past that. It's been refined and tuned, and I know that it's still going to get tuning in the future, but Checkmate is not it. It is not the mode that I'm excited to play. I don't get happy about it. The gameplay you're watching is actually Checkmate control. The issues that I have with it are like okay. No. I shouldn't say the issues I have. The problem I have with Checkmate control, right, is, you know, the longer times to kill. feels fine, minus 140 hand cannons, okay? And I'm not specifically mentioning Thorn here. Yes, I know Thorn is really obnoxious, but at the same time, Thorn just got a catalyst. And the reality is people have loved Thorn for a long time, but Thorn was held back by its stats. And now that it's got a, increase to its stats or whatever, like expect to see Thorn in the meta for the foreseeable future, right? But the issue is, 140 hand cannons have had their TTK completely unchanged to everything else, right? Take sidearms, 300 round per minute sidearms, right? They had a 0.6 TTK. They have a 0.6 TTK in standard game modes. That has been increased, right? Now you have to get an additional shot off, which I think is like 0.7 or something like that. I don't know the exact math, right? But also, I think that something Bungie has failed to like address in Checkmates and in the mode, and especially after playing it for more than just like one game, right? I've played a couple weeks ago, played it last season, played it again yesterday, played it again a little bit today as well. And the issue that I have with Checkmate's control currently in terms of the meta is 140 hand cannons are suffocating the meta, right? And again, not just Thorn. Like, I get Thorn is going to have a higher usage rate because it just got a catalyst. Everybody likes Thorn. I like Thorn. I'm not a big hand cannon user, and I like Thorn. I think it's a neat weapon. But that's not the issue. The issue is 140 hand cannons have had their TTK and their crit ratio unchanged. Beforehand you had to get 3 crits to get a kill. Now you still have to get just 3 crits to get a kill, which every other weapon has had that ratio change. Like submachine guns, for example. I think I'm doing like 17 or 18 damage with a 900 round per minute SMG, right? And yes, I do play on PC. I use a controller, but I do play on PC. So I'm playing people again, that are using mouse and keyboard. Like, I get that. Like, that's something I've come to terms with as time has gone on. But in normal game modes, that hasn't been an issue, right? Like going in, getting a really quick TTK because the crit to body ratio is lower than it is now. And that's the issue. Like, I'm running around with SMGs in this game mode. I'm getting close. I'm doing max damage, but it's not hitting like it's not having the time to kill that I feel like it should have. Like, I have to hit literally all crits. I have to laser beam somebody. And if anybody, even as a seasoned SMG user, lasering somebody with all crits is still difficult. Right, it's still difficult. I have what I would say is the god roll on my out of bounds. Like, it's got great range, great handling, great stability. It's got dynamic sway and tap the trigger. Like, that's the dream combo that you would want for a 900 round per minute SMG. And I'm literally beaming somebody with almost all crits. There's a couple bodies starting there, and I'm not getting them, and they're still killing me with a 140 hand cannon. And again, it's any 140s. I mean, I know I got killed by, of course, Thorn. I got killed by Hawkmoon today. I've been killed by Ostringer, today and last night. What's the other one? Rose. That's what it is. I'm thinking of Rose. Like, it's any 140 hand cannon feels like it is just supremely dominant to anything else. And I know I'm not the only one to feel like this. Like, I think it was True Vanguard addressed this, and I think that True Vanguard, I don't know if he mentioned in his video about, Thorn being popular because it's relatively refreshed / new, right? But 140 hand cannons are problematic in the Crucible, and really not in the Crucible, in Checkmate specifically. And here's the thing, like, I would be 100% okay with it if they had, Checkmate Rift, Checkmate's Relic, something like that. But they changed our standard mode, our normal control gameplay mode, to Checkmate. That's what I'm really not okay with. Like, Crucible is one of the things I like to go in there because I like to try out different builds. I like to use dual SMGs on Titan. Here you see this. I've got a Harmony roll on Unending Tempest, and I've got the out of bounds that I really like. On Hunter, I like to hop on and use some Strand. I'll use Void Hunter. On Warlock, I'll go for a healing build, stuff like that. I try a bunch of different builds in the Crucible, and they're all really fun. But Checkmate, the problems that arise from Checkmate is you have to use the meta, right? In regular Crucible, I could get away without using the meta. Doesn't mean I would pop off. Dual SMGs was not giving me 4.0 and 5.0 KD games, right? Like, it wasn't. But currently, like, I'm using the dual SMG, and again, I know I'm rusty. I'm not saying I'm not rusty or nothing like that, but at the same time, it's difficult whenever you can sit there and beam somebody for 99% crits, and they still kill you with a 140 hand cannon. And really, I think that it just needs one simple change, right? The only change is they need to reduce the damage on 140 hand cannons so that they can't kill in 3 crits unless you have some type of damage buff. Any damage buff at all, right? Like Radiant is 10%. That would be fine. A Surge mod that gives you 4% extra damage. Like any damage amount at all would bring you to that threshold where it's like, hey, now I can 3-tap people, 2 resilience and below. Or something like that. I feel like that would be a fair change. Thorn would still be equally powerful because once you get Soul Devour charged up, you can 3 crit people, right? In Checkmate, I'm completely fine with that. What I'm not fine with is the base TTK of 140 hand cannons being so quick at no cost to or at no change to the crit to body ratio, right? Like, I don't know if many of y'all remember Destiny 1, but Destiny 1, you could hit with a 140 hand cannon. I want to say it was I want to say it was 2 bodies, 1 crit for a kill, right? Imagine a meta now where you could be using a hand cannon, say Rose, hit somebody twice in the body, once in the head, and you get a kill. Like, that was not a fun meta. I think D1 is still in that meta. Like, that was the meta when we left D1. And my fear is that Bungie's trying to push us back into that meta for nostalgia's sake, I guess. Nostalgia's sake, which I hate when companies do this. They change things back to bring back a blast from the past or whatever. It's not necessarily a good thing. I'm okay with hand cannon metas coming and going. But currently, with Bungie looking at Checkmate being the standard mode, and I would say this season, Checkmate is the premier mode. Like, if they've replaced Control with Checkmate Control, that means that Checkmate Control is the premier mode. That means that Checkmate is the premier feature. I know that Trials is going to have Checkmate involved in it and stuff like that. That is not a meta I am going to want to be in. That's not a meta that I'm going to enjoy playing in. Because if you're not using one particular weapon, you're not gonna be doing well. That's not I think that we can all agree as players, regardless of your skill, and if you played in the Crucible at all, we can agree it's not fun to be forced into using a very specific archetype of weapon to have any viability within the game. Right? Like, that's the way I feel about it. I'm okay with hand cannons being good. They're good peek shotting weapons. You hide behind cover, you step out for a little bit, you take a shot, you step back behind cover, and stuff like that. Like, I'm okay with that. That's a completely valid play style. It's countered by aggression with a submachine gun, for example. But when submachine guns have had their TTK raised and not their damage, right? Or their damage not raised, their TTK is now longer at a very high crit ratio. That's when there's problems, because now it makes submachine guns unviable. And I know submachine guns have been pretty dominant for a long time, right? We've talked about Peacekeepers before, we've talked about SMGs before, and I do think that there are some tuning needed. There is some tuning needed with SMGs to change them up a little bit because they are so dominant. But it's not just SMGs, it's sidearms, it is pulse rifles, it is like all these things, like aggressive pulse rifles. We just talked about that a second ago, like Belisarius, right? You can get a 2-burst kill if you hit all crits. If you can hit all crits, you get a 2-burst kill. That's great. That's a 0.8, or is that a 0.77? I think it's 0.77, 0.8 second TTK, right? And you have to be incredibly accurate. That's a current sandbox. Now, at minimum, it takes 3 bursts to get a kill, right? Increasing its TTK by a lot. But hand cannons or 140 hand cannons are unchanged. 140 hand cannons are unchanged, right? And again, another issue is like the 140 hand cannons, their aim assistance, their magnetism, bullet magnetism, stuff like that is absolutely out of this world. Like, I was using Thorn a little bit, I got the catalyst, and Thorn is hitting crits like nobody's business. Like, I'm hitting crits on people that's like, I'm like, wow, I wasn't even trying to hit a crit there. Like, I was just aiming for his body to clean him up. Like, and it's hitting ridiculous crits. I haven't used anything besides Thorn, so maybe other hand cannons are different, but I highly doubt it. Right? Hand cannons have that super, super ease of use factor. And that ease of use factor needs to come with some type of a trade-off, right? Some type of trade-off, a slightly longer TTK. And that's why I think that before Checkmate, hand cannons have been historically great and perfectly fine where they were. Because yeah, using a 140 hand cannon, I think it's a 0.83, 0.85 second TTK, but you have that ease of use of having high aim assistance, high bullet magnetism, the ability to take peak shot, from around cover. Like, that's why they've been fine. But now in the Checkmate meta that we have, they are dominating everything. Like, you can't two burst people with, a 340 anymore. You can't two burst pulse rifle, high impact pulse rifle. Can't two burst people with a an aggressive pulse rifle. Like, every other weapon has its TTK change, but not 140 hand cannons. And now they have one of, if not probably the fastest TTKs in the game at, again, no cost to you. Like, they still have the same bullet magnetism and stickiness and stuff like that. And that's, I don't know what Bungie wants to do about it. Like I said, I think that having, the inability, like, minimum of 4-shot kill without any damage boost, but as soon as you get even one surge mod going or whatever, then it can 1-shot kill, or 3-shot kill, not 1-shot kill. Please not 1-shot kill, but 3-shot kill people. With the exception of Thorn with Soul Devour up, or, if you have Kill Clip on a hand cannon, activate Kill Clip, boom, there you go, start 3-tapping people. Like, I'm okay with that, but it can't just come for free, because there's no point in using anything but hand cannons, and that leads to stale metas. And one of the things about, like, last season's meta and the season before that, like, one of the best parts about those metas was that they were some of the most non-restrictive metas we've had in the history of Destiny, right? From the beginning, there's always been metas. The very first meta of Destiny's history was the auto rifle fusion rifle meta, right? And you could snipe people with fusion rifles, you could laser beam people with auto rifles, and then it changed. When D2 first came out, the meta was Mida multi-tool. If you weren't using Mida, you were literally putting yourself at a disadvantage. It had a really fast TTK. You could flinch the heck out of people. It made you move faster. We've been through metas before, 600 round per minute autos. Sorry, I just want to point that one out too. But last season, before Checkmate came around, we were in a good spot because I could use a sidearm, I could use a pulse rifle, I could use a hand cannon. Even scout rifles were viable. And I know scout rifles are a little bit of a wishy-washy subject because it's like, oh, scout rifles, like, nobody uses them. The reason nobody uses them is because we don't have any really long-range maps where they can shine on. But if you have a map like Disjunction, for example, scout rifles shine on. Eternity, scout rifles shine on, right? Anyways, that's kind of my thoughts on that. I am concerned that we don't have just a regular, like, party mode, so to speak, or not party mode, a regular just go in here, try this build out game mode. I want Bungie to bring control back, just regular control. If you want to do checkmates in, the rotating playlist, that's fine. Like, I don't have an issue with that at all. But yeah, other things about PvP though, I think comp actually, the change to survival rules, increasing your lives from 4 to 6, that's a really interesting change. Like, it definitely helps the game feel a little bit longer. I did notice playing comp last night that's on the newest, well, I say the newest map, but on Citadel, the reprised map, a lot of people like to sis out in the back. Like, they like to run to the very back of the map, and if they've got life advantage or whatever, they like to run to the back of the map and hide at the very back of the map, because of course they kill you, and they've got 1 life left. You now have 0. You spawn across the map. You got to run forever to get to the very back of the map. Like, the very back of the map is quite deep, and so that's I think that maybe they could look at condensing that map so you can't hide out in the back to win games, because that's not a fun way to win a game, right? But other than that, countdown rush, that I had fun doing that. I only played like 2, or I think I only played 1 game of countdown rush in my comp run, I guess, last night, but it was definitely a lot of fun. That was actually one of the 2 games I won, so that was a pretty fun game. But yeah, I don't know, these are just my thoughts on PvP. I know we talked a lot. I really focus hard on checkmate control and hand cannons and stuff like that. Again, I don't have problems with hand cannons. I don't have issues with Thorn. Like, Thorn's popular because it's so refreshed, and Thorn's always been a well-loved weapon. It just hasn't had the stats to show. Now that it has the stats to show, of course it's going to be present more. I don't have beef with Thorn. I more have beef with just the state of hand cannons and the fact that they kill so freaking fast at so little cost, and everything else, like, you have to really work to get your kills, and even then you might not get it. Anyways, that's kind of it. I want to hear your thoughts on the current state of PvP. You know, what are your thoughts on Checkmate Control being the premier playlist? What are your thoughts on comp? And of course, people, I guess, trying to smack talk. That was wild to me. I have never had that happen. I don't add people on this game that just randomly add me, because, like, you know, formerly I would do that. I would add anybody that added me as a friend, and my friend list filled up quickly. And I was looking through, I'm like, I don't know who literally 99% of these people are. So I don't add people unless I recognize your name. So yeah, that's that. But yeah, I just want to hear your thoughts on PvP. With that being said, though, of course, long video today again, but if you liked it, drop a like, it helps the channel a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content and conversations such as this. And do me a favor, watch the videos you see on the end screen, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you will like them. Guys, I will see y'all next time. Bye for now.